God's people were preparing to cross the Jordan River to go into the land that God had promised to give them. They were instructed to follow the Ark of the Covenant so they would know which way to go, because it says in this chapter in Joshua, because they had never been that way before. And I sense that that applies to us, because we are beginning a journey and we have never been this way before. The ark was designed to be a symbol of the presence of God in the midst of his people. And the message, I think, to us is to seek the presence of God so that we will know which way to go on this new journey. I had previously used the analogy of the handover to Gateway as writing a new chapter in the life of Meadow Way. I think now that analogy is not quite right. I think the better analogy is that of an author who's writing a series of books. And the characters and situations in edition 1 you will find in subsequent editions. And so I think that the first edition of the book relating to Meadow Way has now closed. But a new book is about to be written. And in that book will be some of the characters and situations which are in the first book relating to Meadow Way. But new characters and new situations will also be introduced as the story unfolds. Some of you are feeling excited about the future of God's work here, wanting to see great potential being unlocked. I know that because you told me. Some of you are experiencing different emotions to that. You may be sad that Meadow Way has come to an end and wishing it could have continued. You may be concerned about what the future holds. You may be unsure whether you want to be part of the future of God's work here. You may be anxious about change and the unknown. You may be wishing you know more than you do. I want to address that, because I want to say those feelings are perfectly normal and to be expected. Please don't feel guilty if that's where you are. And please be gentle and understanding with each other as we seek the way forward. You know, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Although that gets misquoted often these days. Because people say it's the proof of the pudding. No, it's eating the pudding, which is the proof. So what I'm saying to you is, however you're feeling, try it. Try it before you make any final decision. And to help you here, there's some very important messages I want to pass on. And I have Mark's backing in saying these things. Worship team, you are wanted and you are needed on this journey. Tech team, you are wanted and you are needed on this journey. Premises team, you are wanted and needed on this journey. Open the book team, you are wanted and you are needed. In fact, all of you, however small you may feel your contribution is, are wanted and needed on this journey. Those of you who will be going to services at Norwich High School during May, whatever your reactions are to that experience, for some of you, you could find it uplifting, but let's speak honestly, for some of you, you may feel, I don't want to be part of that. Again, I want to address that by saying this. What you experience at the high school will not be replicated when we start here in June. Okay? June is the beginning of a journey. And it may take us a year to get to the end of that journey. But when June comes, just take it. It will be, for example, songs that we have always used in the past, and please, it will be with our worship band, and so on. Each one of us is creative in some way or other, and it's so very interesting sometimes to talk to people and find out more about them, the things that you didn't know, which they are creative with. Anytime we are involved in a project, we are being creative. If we organise or decorate something, we are being creative. If we solve a problem, if we inject humour, if we apply knowledge and ability and skill that God has given us, we are being creative. Being creative may mean breaking the rules. Not God's rules, but the rules and traditions which exist and have become part of our culture, our church, and the way we do things, built up over many years. Being creative is about challenging and changing perceptions. We must not fall into the trap of thinking that what we did yesterday will be okay for tomorrow, because it won't be. Over the years, I have preached in churches that no longer exist. Why? Because they wanted to hang on to what they were, and they were not prepared to change in the way that God may well have been telling them. And so they just ended up closing. But with God's presence and God's power, let's step into the future trusting Him for what we do not yet see clearly.